Welcome to Legacy, and we're here today for another broadcast which we hope will be a blessing to your life personally and a blessing to your family, and that it will enable you to leave a lasting, eternal legacy with the people that you know. My sweetheart, Tex, is here with me.
Good morning.
Again, how are you doing?
Good.
Good.
I'm
glad.
Good. I'm ready
And
for this discussion.
everyone's expecting David and Shirley Walker. Well, this is not David and Shirley. This is David and Kelly. Our Dave and Kelly, our son and daughter-in-law. And welcome to the program. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
It's good to be here.
We've talked about you, how much of a scoundrel you are, and so we wanted everybody to be able to find out for sure on this.
That's from his lineage.
So you're letting me set the record straight, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
So you're in the defense chair today. No, we're just really excited to have you guys. We wanted to have y'all on and for y'all to share, because I know that y'all are in a situation that a lot of young couples are in. You have young children, and I think that can be one of the toughest times of married life. And so we just wanted to bring in the experts who are in the middle of it and just share a little bit with us. But first of all, I want everyone to get to know you. Tell us, I know all this, but the people who are listening and watching don't know. Tell us a little bit how you met each other, or your background, and Kelly, if you want to start. Dave, doesn't matter. Just give us a little bit of your background and how you came to know each other, how you came to know the Lord. So talk to us about that.
Okay, well, Dave and I were actually high school sweethearts. And so I moved to San Antonio from Michigan when I was in 8th grade. And a few years later, our sophomore year, Dave came to San Antonio, and he was the new guy in school. And he was different because he really respected girls, and I think that was something that stood out to me right away. And all the girls kind of had a little crush on Dave, because he was a guy that would actually sit down and was interested in getting to know people, not just trying to show off and letting people get to know him. So about a year later, we actually started dating, and we dated pretty seriously for several years. He ended up going to Baylor University, and I followed him up there a couple years later and continued our relationship. But at Baylor, we kind of were going different directions. He joined a fraternity and kind of just got off the track with the Lord and started doing different things that, wasn't really pleasing to the Lord at that time. And so, and I really just got involved with my church. And for the first time in my life, I really started understanding about the Father heart of God and how much He loved me, and just fell in love with the Lord at a deeper level during my college years. So my college years were just some really sweet times with the Lord. So we kind of went our separate ways as time went on.
Now, let me ask you, and this is a loaded question, but what was that difficult for you? I mean, because we saw, that taking place in your lives, but was that a difficult thing, or was it because out of your relationship with the Lord, I mean, it really didn't matter?
No, it was difficult because I loved Him, and I felt I was supposed to marry him for a long time, and then all of a sudden we're going different directions. So it was really hard. We tried to make it work, and we would try to still date and go out, but I knew he was coming to church. He was saying the right things because of me, and it wasn't it wasn't in his heart, and I could see that. And I kept trying to fool myself, thinking, well, maybe if we get married, he'll come around and stuff. And so I kept holding on, and we'd break up and get back together because I had that hope that we would end up together. But his heart just wasn't in it. And
now,
finally,
let me ask you, what were you feeling at that time?
I just had no spiritual desire at that time. I really had really turned away from everything you guys had brought me up to believe. I think the thoughts that were going through my mind was, am I just a product of my upbringing? If I was born in a Muslim home, would I be Muslim? If I was born in a Hindu home, would I be a Hindu? And I was really searching at that time for the reality of truth. And so I was really didn't have much of a desire, because I thought I had figured out that Christianity wasn't the way, and I didn't have much of a desire to go to church or do those type of things. But I did it to please her, because I still had a desire for her. And so I was really searching at that point in my life. And
well, let me ask you, because sometimes both of y'all grew up in strong Christian families that love the Lord, And I think this is what you went through is something that a lot of Christian young people have to deal with. Is it my faith? Is it my parents' faith? What was the difference with you, Kelly? I mean, why was it? What was it that you didn't go that direction? Can you put a finger on that at all?
I really don't know exactly why. I think when I got to college, the friends I started hanging around were in love with Jesus, and those are the people that I spent most of the time with. And I think being around them made me attracted more to getting to know Jesus. And so I kind of dove in that direction, and the more I got to know him, the more I fell in love with him. And the temptations to drink and to do the Baylor thing or the college thing just wasn't appealing to me, because I had great relationships, and I was, just finding that I could know God and love God in a way that I never had before. So it was just kind of a sweet time with the Lord. But I do think my friends who I hung out with made a big difference.
And that kind of happened to you too. Would you say that, in other words, the friends that you made on campus, although you weren't a Christian at that time?
Yeah, I had been to church all my life and reared in it and knew the scriptures and knew all that, and yet there wasn't I had never I'd gone through the formalities, but I had never personally allowed Jesus Christ to be the Lord of my life until I was in college. And I kind of what Dave went through. So maybe you're from my lineage. It's my fault. But in high school, I began to drink and go to clubs and do things I knew that my parents and I knew were wrong. And yet there wasn't that strength to overcome that, I think, in my life. And then at college, again, I was around some young people. Sammy was one of them. There were like 4 young people, and I was around them. And I saw that love for Jesus, and I saw that he seemed so real to them. And I thought, I'm missing something. And so we talked, and I talked with them. And one night in my dorm room by myself, I said, God, if you're real, would you come in and be real to me? And that night, Jesus Christ came in my life. And I was changed. So my desires were changed, what David was talking about.
Yeah, and I don't think you can, I wholeheartedly agree that friends play a huge part in determining a lot what happens in a child's life or even a young adult's life. But there's no way, especially the older you get, that you can mandate who their friends are. You can cultivate an environment that encourages them to develop relationships with people that will be good for them. But I don't know if there's a formula, to it all. Sometimes God has us all on an original journey and sometimes it takes going through the hard stuff of life in order to end up on the other side, and he ends up using that for his glory in ways that he couldn't have if you hadn't gone through that.